Good afternoon, Travis. How you doing today?
Good. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. It has been a very busy week, but it's been very enjoyable. So we're cranking through, and we're getting ready for draft now. So it's fun times. Football is back.
Yeah, yeah. Pretty much football and school is back. So the wives, we might squeeze out one more vacay before real football starts, and then no more vacays until December or
Yeah,
November.
yeah. We did the same thing yesterday. I kind of finished my work for the day early, and I was like, let's go away, get to do something. And there's Illinois' largest water park is like 20 minutes from the house. And we're like, let's go kill a few hours. And so we did a little mini vacation in a day kind of thing. Now I'm all sunburnt and tired, but it is what it is.
No, I understand that. I definitely understand that.
Yeah. So, what we like to do is first and foremost, welcome you to the league, sir. Welcome to Fantasy Turf War.
Oh, like I said, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I saw it online and I was really interested in it. And so I was like, okay, hopefully, they picked me. And obviously we contacted each other on LinkedIn. And so, yeah, been here ever since.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's always interesting to see the people that try and come in every year or apply for the seasons, and there's a lot of filtering. I joke and I love that community, but like 25% of the applicants all think it's soccer, so I have to set expectations and like unfortunately, it's on our roadmap, but we haven't gotten there yet. I didn't know fantasy soccer was a thing, but yeah, we try and get as many feelers and diverse of a group as out there as we can. So we try, but
No, no, definitely. I didn't know this was fantasy soccer league
I
either.
was like, oh, it never like occurred to me to like make that distinguishment. So I make sure I try and pay attention to it now. But who
Hmm.
knew? But what we like to do here at Fantasy Turf War before the season really kicks off is get to know all the teams behind the league and all the businesses that we're representing, and really sit down with you on a one-on-one because we believe in putting the face behind the brand, make the audience more likely to make that connection and conversion to either watch your content or buy your product, depending on what your industry is. And so, tell us a little bit about an athlete's journey and how you guys got your start.
Well, pretty much, show A Athlete's Journey started right after COVID, a situation where a friend of mine passed away, my best friend who played overseas about 16 years. And then my son asked me a question like, Dad, how was your overseas life? And I said, son, that's a long and complicated answer. So I had a show called Travesty the Basketball Life. It's still up on Spotify, iHeartRadio, if you ever want to listen to it. And then so many people listen to that show where it was like, I want to tell my story. And so I started interviewing my friends and like, former NBA players, NFL players, soccer, well, not soccer, hockey, just everything, baseball. And so like they just started telling me their stories as well. And, I just thought, you know what, I'm gonna just make a show out of this, and this will be my main show called A Athlete's Journey.
Very cool. I like it. And so you had the show previously, and then you started this one to kind of capture other people's. Were you just naturally having those conversations with folks anyway, and just like kind of hit record, or was it more of an intentional? Let me seek out what stories are out there.
Well, it was pretty much like, when I was going through my retirement, when I played professional basketball 10 years overseas and then I retired, I went through a very, very tough period, a very hard period for me. And pretty much after I figured out, it took me years to kind of get out of the funk I was in about switching my life essentially, because I played basketball for 29 years straight.
Wow.
And then I had to figure, okay, what's next in my life? And so it was a deal of great depression. And so I realized now that I wasn't alone. I was, a bunch of my friends and people that I started to know, like went through the same thing. And so like, the stories that I do for the show is like really stories of truth and transition because everybody needs to make the transition because everybody loves, the athlete when they're in their prime or whatever, but like they forget about them just like that, like as soon as they retire or they get hurt or injured and their name is not in the spotlight anymore. So this is for not only the past people that play like myself, but future athletes that know that you're not alone. You can deal with this, and you have huge network of people that you can reach out to and figure out what your next move is.
So it's so interesting. I'd never, and it almost seems like rude of me that I never considered that there is a life after being an athlete in a similar way of, so I try, you always try and relate it to something you're familiar with, right? So I relate that to my time in the military and how do you
Mm-hmm.
transition that out, right? And there is a huge transition problem of becoming from military back to regular civilian life, and all of that challenge is there. And so I can only imagine the challenges that they face as they kind of come out of that spotlight, and like what do they do for, like you said, you played for 29 years. That's an entire lifetime of experiences that you've come to love and learn as like your home of in your ecosystem, and you're just completely removed from that at the end of the day. And so it's very interesting to think about that. When you talk to your guests, have you found a common throughput of ways that they find, or like something that they latch onto when they start to make that transition of like, okay, I've gone from being an athlete and I've got my trials here, and then what do they usually go to after being an athlete that's like their rock?
Good question. I really think that this kind of depends. Like I said, I have former NBA players that's been on my show. That are friends of mine who had a base, right? Obviously, they had millions in the bank, so they can figure out whatever it is they want.
Because
They
that
can
helps,
chill.
right?
Yeah, yeah. They can figure out what it is they want to do. I've had overseas guys who left the game broke, and had to figure out real fast, because they had kids, so they had to provide,
Yeah.
and so it's been a mix of both. I think with them, with athletes, former athletes, because some people, and not necessarily all my athletes I've interviewed has been in the NBA or whatever. Like some of them have been overseas, some of them stopped in college, some of them stopped in high school, some of them, like they, what I'm saying. So it just kind of depends on what your transition, whatever it is that you feel comfortable with. For me, like I said, I didn't know what I was without being a basketball player. So it took me years
Yeah.
to figure out what it is. So I had to do like, go from job to job to job to job to my current situation, my job, what I'm doing now. So, it just takes time. And like I said, like people trying to figure out it's so different people, different times.
Okay. Has there been any sort of commonality across sports, across like levels of athleticism? So, are your NBA guys having the same problems as, former football players or anything like that? Is like, is there a common thread throughout, or is it different?
Well, it has both similarities and differences. So like yes, there's a big commonality because like a lot, even I had a friend who, or like who was a millionaire, and as soon as they retired, they went to a therapist because they didn't know what they was without basketball because they've been doing it essentially for so long, and they were one of the blessed ones to make it to the NBA.
Yeah.
Same with a football player, same thing. I think that with football, it's obviously a much shorter shelf life in the NFL than compared to NBA, but they're all going through the same thing. I think you know, if I was 34 when I retired. So that's old for a basketball player, but you know what I'm saying? That's young compared to, and I've had NFL players do 4 years or 5 years and retire. So they're 26.
Yeah.
Imagine being 26 and you're like, I've been working to this goal my whole life and I have to retire at 25, 26. Now you're 25, 26 trying to figure out your life.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's just so crazy to me how like it was similarities even in baseball. I interviewed somebody who was major, was like double A, triple A, then triple A made it to like for a couple years, then made it to the majors for like 2 years,
Nice.
and then they blew out their arm and they had to retire like at 27,
Oh,
or 26 or whatever it was, and they had to figure out what was their next move, and so it was. I've had like a slew of just different kind of interviews, different kind of people, different kind of like craziness. And like I said, some are similar, but like they are similar because we're lost in like we don't know what the next to do. But a lot different in different ways.
okay. Yeah, I can't imagine. So like I got medically retired when I was 30. Yeah, I was 30. 29, maybe 30. So it was pretty much the same range. So yeah, it like I said, it's knowing, and they had put in significantly much longer time, since you probably started playing when you're four kind of thing and started up the little, not the minor leagues, start playing when you're a kid and you transition to high school and all that. So like you put so much more time in your world, and that's got to be just like earth shattering when you've got to try and figure that out. And if there's kids involved, or if you don't have millions in the bank, then there's this added pressure of time. It's like you don't necessarily have the luxury of being able to sit down and write it out and figure it out. You just kind of get going. Are you able to share? And I don't want to put you on the spot too much. Like, are you able to share kind of what your process was, and not necessarily like what brought you to that place, but how did you push through it? How did you recover? And like, how did you find your way through? Because I think that's something that a lot of people are going to struggle with in their own lives, and it might be beneficial for them to hear a success story of how that worked.
Well, like I want to go back to something you were saying about the PTSD. So obviously, I had a father; he was in the military too. So I was a military brat growing up. My first 8 years, my dad did 12 years of service in the Air Force. First 8 years of my life was we moved around North Dakota, Sacramento. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I know about that life too. But the PTSD for athletes, it was for myself, it was a really, really hard struggle. And at the time I had a little kid, a son. He was super young. He needed diapers, he needed food, he needed this. I mean, his mom wasn't seeing necessarily to see eye to eye on everything, but I was trying my best to provide for him, and I was just super struggling.
Yeah.
And I just remember, like, I'll be honest with you, I became a borderline alcoholic. Maybe not borderline, maybe just alcoholic.
Look, man, we,
And
we we all have those times, like
yeah,
you got to turn to something, and
yeah,
unfortunately, sometimes that's on the table. So I can
yep,
definitely
yep.
relate.
I became that, and just I was miserable. I was just mad at the world, and mad at myself, mad at my family. I know my family hated me living with me at that time, and so I remember it was a situation that happened in my house where I almost did something irreplaceable to myself. Right? Let's just say that.
Sure.
And my mom came in, and she literally came and slapped the taste out of my mouth. Just came in, whoppa,
All right, mom.
and and she was just like, you know, that you're not a coward, and she just left it at that. She didn't say anything. You're not a coward, and that's what cowards do, you
Hmm.
know. And you have a son, you have people who love you, and I know you're going through it, but that's just part of life. And kind of after I gained some feeling back in my face, I said, "You're right," and I used my son as kind of motivation to, I went the next day. I went to a job fair, and I had been applying for like enterprise for like four or five times. I got rejected 4 or 5 times, right? And they were there at this little job fair.
That's cool.
And I went there and interviewed with them, and they just loved me. And I'm like, dude, I replied to you like 5 times. She's like, yeah, if you don't have the certain words, whatever, like those little AI words that they look for, they just pass over your,
Filters out. Yeah.
yeah, it filters out. So I remember I had a job. I was, I'll be honest, I was a security guard, top flight security,
All right.
and hated
Yeah.
it. Hated it with a passion. Had my duck shoes and everything. So yeah, I remember they it was with Enterprise. They hired me, and then I literally got all my security guard clothes and just went to their little went to their where the job place.
Yeah.
Just here, I quit, and just and it was like, well, if you quit now, you can't come back. I don't care. I'm never coming back. And that was kind of like the first, if you want to say, blessing, right? And then it was the next, for a different job, and then another job, and then my current job I got now. And so it was a situation where it took some time and just a lot of frustration on my part. But finally, my breakthrough was just being, kind of like, finally thanking God and just being thankful and grateful for what I did have, which was my health, my son, my family, to stop feeling sorry for myself.
Very cool, and I love the story. Is suicide issues. It's unfortunately it's a thread this year, and it's something that I think a lot of people struggle with, and how to handle that. And especially the last couple days, we've talked quite a bit with some of the teams and their experiences, and you know, as much as it may have hurt, I think what mom did is probably the best way to handle that is just it. I call it intrusive love. It's like she's gonna get her love across to you, and she did it quite forcefully there. And maybe it just that's what it takes sometimes to kind of just get out of that funk, and you put one foot in front of the other, and that's all you can ever ask for. So I'm grateful that you listen to mom, so to speak,
Sure.
and you're able to put something together. So it's a really cool story.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Like it was by force, and then after that, so we never really talked about it, but we kind of knew like what it was, and so she would always kind of check up on me a little bit more often, and so I was like, no, I'm better, and then it just got kind of, I stopped drinking, I started really because I was like, well, I got to be on. I'm working 10-hour shifts with Enterprise,
Yeah,
so there's no time to really drink, and so I just kind of like I got better. I stopped drinking, and just overall life got better, if you want to say.
very cool. Well, I think that's definitely something people can relate to, right? Like we've all had some sort of scenario where we can find a way through, right? And so it's important that people understand that there are other options out there, and no matter what the how dark the day is and what options lay in front of you, there's always an option to take to take one step forward, right, and to keep moving. So that's something that I think a lot of people will resonate with.
Mm-hmm.
Let's slightly pivot. So let's kind of look to the future, right? You're saying that you're gathering stories of athletes, yourself and others included, right? And kind of distilling down these lessons that they've learned in hopes to kind of get that in front of a future athlete so that they're prepared when that time comes, right? What are some things if you've got a new, say, a college athlete coming up through the systems? What are something that they should be looking to do and prepare themselves so that they're better equipped when the time comes?
Well, I would say, focus on your craft, but also have something ready, just in case. That's, I mean, I know that sounds kind of counterproductive, but I think that what you can do is just, like work very hard at what you're doing, be it basketball, football, baseball, whatever, but also kind of know what you would like to do after. Because, like I said, everybody doesn't make it to the NBA. Everybody
Right.
doesn't make it, people don't make it overseas. And so, like, like it's like I tell my son this because he's in high school right now playing basketball. As a son, you're part of probably 30,000 athletes that play basketball across the states, United States. But do you realize when you get to college, that goes down to 3,000?
Wow.
So
Yeah.
imagine 30,000 to 3,000. So that makes you part of the 0.9% to get to even college,
Yeah.
let alone like high level college, like this that's just division one, two, three, JC, to play. And, to get to the NBA, it's only 450 spots, but really it's not 450 spots. Is you get 60 drafted and
Right.
probably 40 of those is going to be European picks.
Hmm.
Maybe 40, I mean, not 40. Out of the 60, 20 will be European picks. And then there's really 40 guys that's going to get drafted from the States because they're going to pick guys from, Russia and Slovenia and all these other places that you never heard of. And they're going to be stashing them as draft picks, like they'll come in 2 years, like a Ginobili, like a Tony Parker, like, those kind of things. Um,
Yeah, it's a numbers game, right? Like
it's a
you've
numbers
gotta
game.
gotta be able to survive
Yeah.
that, and it's not that it's and you're not saying like it's dear son, like you're not going to make it. You're saying like
Yeah.
just be aware there is just like it's just a statistic. Like there are only so many open spots. Like the odds are just not great.
Yeah. Yeah. And I tell them this, work as hard as you possibly can because once it's gone,
Right.
right? And like, so don't take this like, oh yeah, this is like, like you got to treat it like this is your last year. Every year it's like treated as this is your last year. And that's what I told him. Like, and that's why in toward, like when I started basketball overseas professionally, I treated it as that like every year was my last year. And so then I got into a rhythm of like success. And then I got hurt and I missed a year. And I was like, damn, man, that could be my last year.
Hmm.
Now I played 3 more years, but when you're 33, 34, and you're looking for a certain amount of money, but they're not willing to give to you, it's like, what are you going to do? Now you're aged out, quote unquote, of overseas life, and so like I would say, like, just have something to where like, something of like, maybe I want to, and like I say, they don't have to, do anything with it. Maybe I want to go into broadcasting. Maybe I want to go into writing. Maybe I want to be a coach or a trainer. Maybe I want to go into something totally different. Maybe have internships, like going
Yeah.
into sales or going into business or stack your money. And I would say too, know how to manage your money because the money ain't gonna come in forever. You have a
Yeah.
short window time of making whatever you're making. You could be
Yep.
making 100,000 overseas. You could be making 10 million in the NBA. Don't just be living with the Joneses, like
Yeah.
or whatever. Like, know about your money, know where your money's going, know what your money's doing. You know what I'm saying? Have a budget for this is going into my savings, this is going into my stock portfolio, this is going into, my house, Don't buy 8 houses. You don't have 8 bodies. It's just you. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I'm gonna get me a house, my mama house, my cousin, my homeboy. Uh-uh.
Yeah.
No.
It's nice to buy them the house, or just remember the taxes every year.
Yeah, so I said, like, get them to make them have a plan to, not just leech off you. Like, come, like, look, come to me with a business proposal, and I can invest in it.
Yeah.
Do what LeBron did for his friends. And all his friends are super successful because he made them, he made them figure out a business plan, then he invested in it.
Yep. Smart. So yeah. So when it comes to not necessarily a side hustle, but they should be prepared to be, maybe doing something in parallel to what they're doing in preparation for the next step of their life. And it has there been any sort of trends as to what people end up going to? Do they all start a business? Do they all go back to physical training? Or
That's a good question. I would say a lot of them go back into, possibly coaching. A lot of my friends go to coaching.
makes sense?
Because that's what they know. They know ball. They made it at the high level, and so they coach, right? At some level, it could be high school, it could be college. Most of the time, it's NBA, and train, and maybe train the next them. You know what I'm saying? So I give a perfect example. My boy Earl Watson, we went to college together, UCLA together. He became a coach, and obviously he became a coach. And he's been in the NBA. He coached Devin Booker when Devin Booker scored the 70 points against Boston. He was the head coach then.
Nice.
He coached in the NBA for like 2-3 years as a head coach. He was assistant for years, and now he's coaching at the University of San Diego with our old college coach Steve Lavin.
Hmm.
So I think eventually Earl's going to take over and be the head coach, in college.
Very cool.
So I have a lot of guys who coach or train or things like that, or podcasting, like my boy Matt Barnes. He done obviously, all the smoke podcasts. He's doing that. So, you got analysts. It's just something in the sport. So most of them are doing something in the sport. But like then you have people like me who didn't want to coach. I didn't want to coach. I didn't want to train unless it was my son. And, that was pretty much it. And so I went into a whole different field, or what I was doing.
Okay, and it makes sense, right? Like stick. Most of them are going to tend to stick into a universe that they're already familiar with because you go back
Yep.
to just like I did when I left the military. It's like, what skill set are you familiar with? How can you make that work? So I guess it makes sense. So
Yeah.
yeah, that checks. So oh, all right. Let's see. I had another question. Well, let's go ahead and pivot to fantasy football. And I think I had another question, but we'll circle back if it jogs my memory. But yeah, I know what the question is now. There it is. There it is. So I'll edit this, make it look pretty. But so one of the things I'm always interested in is the sense of community, right? And so you have a group of folks that have come through and sat for interviews and interact with you. But does it end with the interview, or is there a sort of community that they can join and rely and build on, or like help each other out when it comes to that? Have you ever seen like a natural community that comes out of it for former athletes?
Oh yeah, I think so. Like obviously they gained another friend in me. So if they ever need me for anything, I'm there for them. But yeah, some of them, like they don't really. Some of them know each other, but like most of them, kind of just they're doing their own thing. And so, um, you know, we some of my people that I've interviewed, we still stay in contact. We do other business ventures. We have certain things that we've done together. For example, I have a LinkedIn page. Obviously, you know that. One of the people I interviewed, Amanda Banks, she's a former gymnast, and she was training for the Olympics at a young age. She retired at a young age, but like me and her, we have a book club together. You
Ah,
know,
cool.
yeah. So if anybody goes to my LinkedIn page, I have a book club, Travis Reed. A book club journey. So you can click on that and see what my book club's doing. Like I got books every month. So I love books. So that's kind of like my thing.
All right. So,
um,
side note there then, because I'm also a book aficionado, I think. I read quite a bit. Top two books for an aspiring or an athlete transitioning to back to regular everyday life.
oh, good question. I would say for me, it would probably be Make Your Bed.
Oh, love
By
it.
and I can't think of his name. It was like the Sergeant. I have the book actually here in my house. Make Your Bed. It's a military guy who was a military guy who was like a Navy SEAL.
Yep.
And he was a person that, like everything starts with making your bed.
Yep. Because
Uh,
if you have the worst day of your life, at least when you get home, your bed's already made for
your
you.
bed's already made for you. So, and the second book would probably be, two books, I think. David Goggins, Can't Hurt Me.
There you go. Love it.
David Goggins is a psycho, by the way.
He is. He really is. In the best
But
way, but he is.
yes, he's the best psycho I've ever. His two books are insane, right? And I just feel like if you ever get a chance to read the book, Can't Hurt Me. It's a New York Times bestseller. It's a huge, huge successful book. The guy was doing 200-mile marathons like without training. He look, folks. He ran. He did a military training with a broken leg. He duct taped it. He duct taped his leg so he can run.
Yep.
I said, "Oh my God, this dude is crazy."
Yeah.
If you read the book, obviously you'll understand what I'm talking about. But like, yeah,
Good
that
stuff.
one, and then Winning, by Tim Grover, the guy who trained Kobe Bryant and
There you
Michael
go.
Jordan. It's a really, really great book about having a winning attitude in life and the work. That if you want to know what the work Michael Jordan, especially Kobe, did to be successful, read the book Winning by Tim Grover.
Yeah, it's not one I've read. I'm familiar with him, and I'm also familiar with kind of Michael's story. I'm from Chicago, so growing up in Chicago in the '90s, of course, you're going to be a big Michael fan. And the movie about Air Jordans, the movie there, it's a great movie on how he and the brand kind of pitched how to sell, and whether you're right or left politically, like they both buy Nikes, and so maybe you should focus on selling Nikes, kind of thing. So yeah, all great stories on the Michael side too. And I won't. Well, maybe I should, but I probably won't ask you the whole Michael or Kobe, which one's the best. But we'll leave.
Oh no! Out of those two, that's the easy. It's Michael. I think Kobe. Uh, I would say there's two different Michaels, right?
Okay,
And,
all right.
Kobe was the Michael from 90 was it 96 to 98? Kobe was one of that Michael.
Yep.
Now the 85 to 93 Michael, the when he was the most athletic dude in the league, him and Dominique Wilkins, Kobe wasn't that. He was never that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Kobe was spectacular. But that 85, like when Jordan was free throw line and double punt. Like, no, Kobe wasn't that dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, that dude was a different dude.
Yeah.
That Mike. He had to learn how to be a better Mike, obviously. And then the 96 to 98 Mike was insane. That's what Kobe was. Like, different. I'm not that wouldn't compare those two, but like as far as like GOAT, like who's better?
Sure.
B being from LA, Kareem is the best player of all time to
Okay.
me.
Okay. Yeah.
I think,
It's a
yeah,
good argument. Yeah, for sure.
yeah, I think that he gets kind of looked over because he wasn't the nicest guy. He had Magic. Magic was the nice guy. If Kareem had Magic Johnson personality, everybody would think Kareem was the GOAT.
Yeah.
Because if you look at everything he's done, you can't argue with everything he's done. He has six championships. He
Yep.
has 6 MVPs. He was the all-time leading scorer. It's like fifth in rebounding, third in blocks, yada yada. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just me.
Sounds good. I think it sounds like we're probably in agreement. So I'm probably not too far reaching when I say like the Michael LeBron debate is over now. Like we don't have to worry about that one anymore.
LeBron is more. He's probably this generation's Wilt.
Okay.
Wilt's stats will never be broken. Like, he has a stat, and I ain't talking one stat, the 50 points to 25 rebounds average. That's one stat never be broken, right? But that same year, he averaged 48 and a half minutes a game. He averaged more minutes than it was time. Like, that will never be broken. You know what I'm saying? So I just, you realize like LeBron is like that. Like, as far as stats, LeBron's gonna upchuck everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He'll probably reach 50,000 points. He'll be like number 2 in assists, or top 3 or whatever. Like he'll be number 1 in 3-pointers, man. He'll be number 1 in the points in playoffs. Number 1 in this. Number 1 in that. I think if he would have won one more championship, and we got the 5, then we can
Yeah.
make that a little bit of a bigger argument. But since he only got the 4, and I'm not, and that's on 4 is not nothing to sneeze at.
Oh, right. Yes, more than I got for sure. Right.
Yeah, I think that but I still think that like with LeBron, it's weird because like the Jordan friends, like the Skip Baylesses, the guy from ESPN, Stephen A. Smith, like they would LeBron could win 10 championships. They would never be Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Like they're just like Michael Jordan stands, and I just be like, bro, like Michael Jordan was great, chill. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
It's also not like we're both content creators, right? Like it's not good content if you're just like, nope, that's the answer. There's no conversation. It's like, well, if you try to have a conversation, you get some good content out of this. So it's like maybe it's worth talking about, but
Yeah.
so
Yeah, it gets with them, it just gets they're ridiculous, on the one side, right? And so like don't get me wrong, like there's other side LeBron people with Nick Wright, he's the LeBron and Shannon Sharp, the LeBron guys, which makes sense. You kind of need that tit for tat.
sure.
But you know what I'm saying? But like, you just gotta be really open. I don't care about shoes. I don't care about his shoe selling. That has nothing to do with basketball. It's a
Sure.
it's a it's a
It's the side business on
it's the side business. It's the image thing. Don't get me wrong. Everybody has Jordans. I have Jordans. That has nothing to do with basketball, meaning like Kareem and you know what I'm saying? Like Kareem did in Chucks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or like Converse, low Converse. I don't care.
So yeah, I love it. Yeah, I said growing up in the night, I never saw Michael play. I saw him in a practice thing once, and never got tickets. But being in the city in the '90s, it's pretty much all you can see. So and it was good. Back in the '90s when the Bears were not horrible coming out of the '85, and the Bulls were okay, and the Blackhawks had some wins, and we haven't really had much of that since. So it's back in the
Well,
day.
well, the Bears, I think they're 9 to 11 win team. 11 being
Yeah.
high, 9 being like what I think they'll probably get, something like that.
Yeah, I mean they've always had issues with anything from the quarterback to now they can't figure out the stadium thing, and who knows. But we'll see how it goes.
I think they might make the playoffs this year.
You think so?
Yeah. I think that Minnesota's going to take a step back. I don't think he's a rookie essentially. They have a rookie quarterback. Don't get me wrong. They have a mess load of talent,
Yeah.
I might draft a couple guys, but if I had any
Uh-oh.
choice,
Giving
I
away
think
strategy.
Jefferson numbers will go down this year. It's not going to be 1,700. I don't I look. He's JJ McCarthy was never that kind of gunslinger at Michigan. All of a sudden
True.
he's gonna become a gunslinger in the pros, you know?
I don't know.
Yeah, so
I know his rookie cards are selling for a little bit more these days, so maybe
yeah.
someone feels something, but
No, maybe I don't think he's gonna do better than Sam Darnold did.
no, I don't think so either.
Yeah.
So I agree. I think Minnesota takes a step back. I'm a little worried that Jordan Love
Detroit take
might figure it out this year, but
yeah, we'll see.
I hope
I
not.
think, we'll see. I think he's so like uh, uh, roller
Yeah.
coaster, roller coaster. Maybe if he can just kind of just slow burn and just kind of go up. But
Yep.
he's like, great game, sorry game. Great
Yep.
game, sorry. Like he's a fantasy nightmare. you know
He is.
what I'm saying? Like one game he give you 40 and the next game he give you two.
Yep. And that's not good for fantasy. So, and I'm not sure the Caleb situation in Chicago. Like, there's some people that were like, "This, he is the guy," and he had an okay year. I mean, we'll see if they can get it going. So we'll see.
I think he
But
had a good year. The problem wasn't he having a great year. The problem was Jaden Daniels had a stupendous year.
yeah,
Like, if you take out Jaden Daniels' year last year, what's his name had like 3,500 yards, 20 something touchdowns. It wasn't terrible. But
yeah.
the problem is Jaden Daniels, he broke every rookie record in history. And they're like, oh, he was a second pick. And he went to the NFC Championship game. Like, come on. Like, I think Bears got some older tackles,
Yep.
guards. They got Joe Tooney, which is probably the best guard in football, or second best behind Lane Johnson. And they got inside help, so there won't be pressure. He still has, Imanze, or whatever kind of his name, from Washington. It'll be second year. Oh,
Odunze.
Dunze. He still
Yeah.
has the Dunze. He still got DJ Moore. He still has Swift as his running back. He got a
Mm,
tight end. They got
all
some
right.
players, on
I
the
think you're
offensive
convincing
side.
me, so I don't want to.
Yeah,
I
they're
want
not
to
bad.
psych myself out now.
Detroit is going to go down. Like they're not. I mean, yeah, Detroit's not going to go 15-2. They're probably going to go more like 11-6, 12-6, or
So
12-5, something like that.
yeah, it'll be interesting to see. It's not been other than 2016 with the Cubs, my Cubbies.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't been the best.
You remember the
Athletic.
Bears went to the
It's
Super Bowl? What year was that?
2003, and after the kickoff with Devin Hester, it was not a very good game for Chicago.
Right, I got you. I mean, they went to the AFC Championship a couple years later. What was it?
I think it was the year after or something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. They
They
lost to
had a
lost to Green Bay, right? Yeah,
Yeah, I think so. So they had a couple of good years there, but
yeah,
yeah. So speaking of football, of course, this is a fantasy football league. So where you're out of Los Angeles,
yeah, yeah.
and what? So where's your fandom lie then?
Well, look, I'll be honest with you. I was a huge Tom Brady fan. Huge,
Nothing wrong
right?
with that. He is like you're saying. Like there's just people that are just going to be great at everything they do. So
Well, some people kind of hates on him on his analyzing of the game, but I like it. He's starting to get better. He's starting to get a little better. In the beginning, it was a little shaky, but starting to get better. Right? You know, I was a huge Patriots fan, and then, like I said, they let go of Tom Brady, so I was pissed off about that. And then I became I'm a Rams fan because it's the LA team. I was a Raiders fan, like kind of growing up, but like when they moved the team back to Northern California, it kind of pissed me off. I was like, F the Raiders. So I guess you could say I would want the Rams to win just because my brother, huge Rams fan. And yeah, so I just say Rams.
okay, I'm actually a Raiders fan. So
Oh, hey, well, yeah. Well, I think they'll be better this year. I think they're in the best division in football. Uh,
probably, yeah, that's a fair assessment.
yeah, definitely.
And I think they'll have a better year. Last year they had the issue of they couldn't figure out the quarterback thing between rock and a hard place, and now they've at least solidified. But it's Geno Smith, and you're like, well, crap. And so it's like he was great in Seattle, but he was not great before Seattle. And so like, which version are we going to get?
Well, I mean,
Preseason looked okay.
yeah, I think I think Chip Kelly's going to save Geno from himself. I think Chip Kelly's going to be like, run the ball, give it
Yeah,
to Gentry, a lot of Gentry. And I think, but the problem with having Geno is that he's the fourth best quarterback in the division.
yeah,
And, like you figure you got the great Patrick Mahomes that's on a level here, right? And I think this is Kansas City last. They'll be good later on, but I think this is their last great run. I think
yeah.
Travis Kelce retires either this year or next year.
I was surprised he didn't after last year. So
Yeah, I think he
maybe
wants to
should make
see if he
another
can squeeze.
run.
I think he wants to see if he can squeeze one more chip out.
Yep,
If they would have won last year, I think he would retire last year.
yep,
I
same.
think, yeah, I think, but like he's just trying to catch Gronk. I think because Gronk has 4, he has 3. He's trying to squeeze one more out, and then I think he retires, and then he goes off to the sunset with
And
Taylor
see,
Swift.
that's why I hope Bowers, wrecks that reign, and so he starts getting his chips behind him. So I'm a big Brock Bowers guy now.
Oh
So
no, I would say Brock Bowers is probably him and McBride from Arizona. Probably
Arizona,
is
yep.
easily the best two. No, I think Brock Bowers is the best tight end in football right now. Like he's what Travis Kelce used to be. Like
Yeah,
he is Travis Kelce.
and he should have won MVP, but he's not a quarterback, so like he didn't stand a shot in hell, especially against Jane Daniels. So like it was never going to happen. But he broke all the records for tight ends as a rookie tight end. So it was like,
Oh no, he is. I've watched him since Georgia. I was like, this dude is the best. He's the best tight end I've ever seen in college. And so, I'm like, I haven't seen a lot of dudes like him. Like Gronk wasn't like him in college.
yeah.
Neither was Travis Kelce.
Yeah, I don't
And,
know if Gronk is Gronk without Tom Brady, right? Like, because he was great, but a lot of that success came from that connection he had with
I
Brady.
agree. I agree with that. I
So,
agree with that.
in the same way, Kelsey and Mahomes are kind of the same
Yeah,
vein of
yeah, yeah.
that. That's just that constant connection that they have, and so it's great for both of them, right? Like they can both succeed off of that. But
Well, yeah. Who was the quarterback for the Raiders last year? Brock was killing. So,
it was between Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew.
yeah, exactly. So, I mean, imagine the step up. I mean, that Geno's a step up, 2 steps up probably from
Yeah, I
those
never,
two.
I never understood. Like, we picked up Minshew, and then it wasn't clear that he was going to be the QB1. So it's like, well, then why'd we go get him if he wasn't going to like clearly solve the problem? It's like, why are we doing that? But it was a problem all year long. So
Yeah, yeah. And so it's the same with the Steelers. Steelers have that dumb problem of like, yeah, we're not going to get a quarterback. We're going to depend on this 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers. Yeah,
yeah,
that makes sense. We're not going to get offensive line. We're going to just keep going defense and spending all our money on defense and pay J.J. Watt and make him 41. It just this. My brother's a Steelers fan, so I'm like, dude, you guys are in ancient
yeah,
thinking. I'm like, so you're not going to get any. You pay a receiver, and you don't get a quarterback to throw to him.
exactly. And Rodgers is not the solution to that
Yeah, I
problem.
was like, oh, you could have kept one of those 2 quarterbacks you had last year.
You should have. You paid a lot to get them too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you pay a lot to go get Justin. If you traded for Justin Fields, why wouldn't you pick him up?
Exactly.
It just
So
didn't make any sense. And I was just like, all right, you're gonna depend on Aaron Rodgers. All right, yeah, Mister
yeah,
Check Down Charlie. So
they got something. They must know something, right? Like they got it all figured out. We just don't know it. So
well, no, they're gonna go zig. They're zagging when everybody else is zigging.
yep.
Everybody's going offense. They're going defense. We're gonna trade for Jalen Ramsey past his prime and just
Watch, we're both going to be eating our words come playoffs and be like,
hey,
okay,
hey,
they were
I
right.
still think they're going to make the playoffs for some dumb reason. It's weird because they always win 8, 9 games anyway.
Exactly. And that's the thing with the Steelers. Like, no matter what, they're going to win games and it's ugly, but they do it, right? Like, they're still going to do it. They're going to make the playoffs or at least be in consideration. It's just going to look horrible.
They're going to win games 17-14. They're like, what ancient football, 1940s football is this? They have a 1 wide receiver, no 2. They trade their 2 in Pickens.
Yeah.
Oh, they are hilarious as a franchise. I ain't gonna lie, they are hilarious. So I think that being the Raiders, going back to that, I think that division could have every single team over 500. Because I really think that Kansas City will probably go about 12-5 or something like that. They won't go 14-3 last year. I think they go 12-5.
Yeah, they definitely seem to have slowed down just a hair from the last few years. So I think it might continue. So
Yeah,
that makes sense.
They go 12-5. I think Harbaugh goes about 11-6, something like that. And then I think same with Denver, they go like 11-6.
Yeah,
And then the Raiders go, 9-9 or 9-8, something like that.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
99's not bad. So we
No,
had
no, not 9-8. My bad. Yeah, 9-8.
oh yeah, yeah. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'll take that. That's pretty good.
Oh,
It's a pretty good season, I think.
yeah. Yeah.
So, but all right, so let's talk some fantasy real quick. So,
Yeah.
it's a fantasy football league. How many years of experience do you have playing fantasy, and what's your success been like?
I've done it for like probably like the last 5-6 years.
Okay.
I played in like last year. I played in about 3 or 4 leagues all at once. It was kind of tough. I ain't gonna lie because I was like managing like three, four
Yeah.
teams in different leagues. And there was last year was the first time I played in the league where you can get 2 quarterbacks.
Oh, okay, cool. Those are
And that
fun.
one, yeah, those are super hard. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna lie, super hard. Because I was like, I had Kirk Cousins, right? And so the first like 4 or 5 games, I was like, yes, Kirk Cousins. And then I dropped him because he benched him, and
Yeah.
after game 7. And so he was killing me. And so I was like, I picked up dude from Denver, the quarterback, and I picked up somebody else. Forgot who. But yeah, that was a hard league. But yeah, I finished in those 6 years, I've won the championship once or
All right.
twice.
All right.
Uh, you know, I finished third last year. Pissed me off. Oh my God. Because I would have won. I was up like 140-90 or something like that
Damn.
in before the game, for Sunday started. Or no, because all of
Well,
my games in the beginning. It was
yeah.
like 10 o'clock games. So he had the person who went against me had a 1 o'clock in the showcase. So I remember it was like, dude had Derrick Henry or something, and he had like 25 points. He had like 112 yards, 2 tutties.
Jeez.
And then I think he had Lamar too. And Lamar had, 3 tutties, 25. I was like, oh! And then the next week, he lost to the championship because he had like 40 points. And then I had like my highest of the year, like 150. And
Isn't
I
that
won
always how it
30.
works? You
Yeah. And
get
I would have won
shafted from
easy.
the.
I would have won easy. I got the highest points in the league and I came in third place.
Jeez. Yeah, happens to me all the time. I'm notorious in our family leagues for having the best record and highest point score going into playoffs
Yeah.
and losing the first week. So
Yeah.
happens
Yeah.
every time. So
Yeah, like in the league I was in, like you could do consolation championship and all that other
yep.
stuff. But like, yeah, third place, fifth place, seventh place. But yeah, I had the number one record in the league, and then I lost in the city. Like I said, I had great team, and just lost one game where Lamar Jackson go, 4 tutties and whatever, and Derrick Henry scores 2 tutties. And I was like,
Yeah, and at least the one thing I usually check for is to see if you've ever tasted success from it. So you said you got at least 1 to 2 championships, so you know what it looks like. So
yeah,
that's what counts.
I won a chip. I won third place a lot. I won third place a lot.
Actually, last year is the only year since I've really started playing in like 2008 that I didn't make playoffs in any of my leagues, and so
Oh wow! Oh wow!
I'm on a tear to get back onto the podium on some way, shape, or form this year.
Yeah. No, I look. Trust me. On the other one, I didn't make the playoffs in the 2 quarterback league. I didn't make I came like it was like the top 8. I came ninth.
Uh,
You know what I'm saying? Because I was getting killed because like everybody had 2 quarterbacks getting like typical 17 points, and I'm getting 6
Six, yeah.
from my quarterback from Denver because they was running the ball all the time
Oh yeah, Bo
from Bo
Nix.
Nix.
Looks
And
good, but I'd love to see some better numbers out of it.
yeah, and I was just like, okay, then I had Daniel Jones. I had to pick up Daniel Jones, so he was definitely like a miss.
Yikes.
Exactly, because I was like, you need 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
I don't know if you might not be able to call it.
I was like, yeah, because oh man, like I had, and you know what the craziest thing is that I had Tariq Hill last year as one of my top picks,
Yeah.
and and then when what's name went down, quarterback,
Oh, Tua. Yeah.
yeah, when Tua went down, Tariq Hill was giving me nothing.
Yeah.
Like, and they kept saying, well, you got to play him. You got to play him. It's Tariq Hill. You got to play, on these little sites. I'm like, I can't play him. He's giving me nothing.
Yep.
And he was like my number one pick.
Yeah, you only play him if he gets pulled over on the way to the stadium that
You know
day.
what I'm saying? Shoot. Oh my God. I was just like, dude, I can't play like you literally can't play him without Tua. You
Yep.
cannot play him without Tua.
Yeah. Well,
Without,
Tua,
without
he's got to stop leaning with his head like that. He's gonna really hurt himself if he hasn't already. Like, stop doing that,
he's
man.
I think he's a good passer, but like, dude, he's like Joe Glass, like
Yeah.
Mr. Glass. You know what I'm saying? Like if you hit him, it's like concussion. Like, damn. Brady must have got hit 1,000 times and never concussed, or maybe he did and just didn't say it.
Yeah.
But like Tua is always concussed. It's like, man, how many times you gonna slide face forward,
Yeah. So
slide backwards?
I was like, I guarantee they told you to stop doing that.
Yeah, you're like, well, yeah, he taught him. They teach him how to baseball slide and all this.
Yeah.
How can Murray never get hit and you always get hit, Tua?
Yeah. It's like I guarantee your mom told you, the doctor told you, the coach told you.
Yes, exactly. Come on, Tua.
Yeah.
You messing with my fantasy. He messed my whole Tariq Hill messed my whole fantasy up.
Yep. I hear that.
Last year because he was like my number one. I picked him number one, like overall number one. He was my number one pick,
Well,
and yeah, he was terrible for me last year. Terrible.
well, hopefully he has a good year. Hopefully you have a good year, fantasy football wise, and personally, professionally, of course. So let's kind of pivot to our fantasy turf war tradition. And so one of
Okay.
the things we like to do in our league is we like to, of course, sit down and talk to all the teams, but we ask you all the same questions at the end of your interview. And so we've got two questions, not nearly as hard as the Disney trivia or any of the other draft determinations we've done. But here we go. Question number one: you are a superhero. What is your superhero power? Superpower.
Oh, probably flying because I hate traffic.
Seems to be
California's a lot
the
of traffic.
seems to be the common answer this year. People hate traffic, so
Yeah, yeah. I could just Neo Matrix or whatever, Superman.
yep, yeah. I think though, if now we're getting to the point where everyone wants to fly, that there's probably going to be traffic in the air now that you guys have to worry about. So it might actually backfire on you a little bit.
Or super strength, so I can just knock out cars in front of me.
Just pick them up and gently move.
Yeah, just ha.
Yeah.
That's it.
So the insurance companies will appreciate if you don't wreck the
Yeah,
cars.
yeah.
All right, and then question number two: you're a WWE wrestler. What is your walkout song?
Good question. Um, what is that? Boom! Here comes the boom!
Oh,
Here
all
comes
right.
the boom! Boom! Or Thunderstruck by AC/DC, one of the two.
Either one of them are great songs.
Whatever. And I could be
So
like, thunder! Just get the crowd hype. Thunder! Something like that.
love it. I love
Yeah.
it. It's probably the one of the better ones I've heard. Look, we get some weird answers. Some people, like say all the time, it's either one or the other. They go for like the super hype, or they go super shock value, and it's like Spice Girls or something like that. So I think ACDC. I think it was Trapped who goes the boom song. I forget the name of the band. I'm
Yeah.
beating
Here
myself
comes
up
the
for it.
boom. Here goes. I just want to get the crowd like we're already amped up on the way to the ring. Like thunder.
Yeah,
Ah,
some pyros in
yeah,
there.
yeah. Some fire. Do the Batista.
Yeah. Tell you what,
Boom.
we're going to become so successful at Fantasy Turf War. We'll do live drafts, and we'll have to do this where we have the pyros coming out so that you can walk out and draft.
Oh, we'll love it. I would love it, man. I'll tell you. Because that I would exactly do that. I would do that. The Batista.
All right, we got to make that happen now. Now I've got it in my head. It's going to stay there until I get it done. So we got to make this happen. But Travis, it's been so much fun talking to you today. I think you're one of very few athletes I've ever gotten to talk to in my life, and it's such an interesting perspective to kind of hear your world, which is just so vastly different from mine, and just learning so much. That I hope that we can continue having conversations, and yeah, we'll keep talking and kind of see where the future leads us.
Oh yeah, man, I'm gonna be bugging you. You know, like yo, Corey, hey, what's this, man? Hey, I need help. You know, come on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm gonna be like, yeah, pick up the kicker first round. That's what you want to do this year. That's it. That's the move. You laugh, but someone's gonna do it. It
No,
happens.
I picked last year. Stupid dude from Baltimore, Justin Tucker.
Tucker, yeah.
Oh, and he was
Yep, my
terrible
sister
last
did
year.
too. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
terrible.
awesome. Well, I hope to talk to you again in the playoffs when you get there. But until then, where can people find you when follow along?
Okay, well, pretty much this is gonna go a little bit, but you can follow me at Travis W Reed. That's REED Travis W on Instagram and Facebook. I post all my social media sites on like whatever I'm doing on both those sites. Like where we met, we can follow me on LinkedIn, Travis Reed. Like and I said my book club, all that is just on my page too. Also, got my page is my website is about to be almost done. Obviously, dealing with Christopher is about to be done, so that'll be coming out. I can't think of the name, like Travis Reed website, whatever. But I'll post that on my social media so you guys can follow it. And look out for my book. It's pretty much going to be done by this year, sometime 2025. Probably, hopefully November-ish should be the transition, the Travis Reed story. Pretty much, I'm done with my editing. I'm just the editors doing that. And I got to get the pictures done, and after
Okay.
that, for the cover of the book. So yeah,
Way
I
to
got
way
some
to
things.
bury the lead. You got a whole book you got coming out.
Yeah, I don't because I don't really talk about it till it's like out, but like it's
Okay.
coming. It'll be out, sometime in 2025.
Okay, sounds good. So what we'll have to do then is we'll have to get you on one of our Thursday shows so that when it gets ready to launch, we can hype it up, we can tell everyone all about it, and then we can get some eyeballs to it and hopefully get you some pre-orders or whatever it may be to help
Yeah,
out. So
bestseller, man. Let's get to the New
yeah,
York Times bestseller.
might
And
as
like I
well,
said,
right?
yeah, with the website, and quick thing about the website, if you have any questions about overseas basketball, I'm doing consulting on that on my website. They have the prices and everything. Like if you are a beginner and you want to get to a certain, make sure you go to the right agency or or you're trying to figure out how to navigate overseas basketball, or if you're a middle person and you've been stuck in like small countries and you're trying to get to a bigger country,
Okay.
I have that. And obviously, if you're an expert and you're doing well, this is just more like continuance of that. So yeah, like I said, that'll be on my website as well, along with some merch and some other stuff. So yeah, got some things in the fire. Got a couple things in the fire.
Sounds good. Yeah, we'll have to have you on, and I appreciate you giving the shout out to Chris. I'm gonna make sure he does an extra better job now. So he always does good work. That's why we recommended him. But yeah, it'll be fun, and it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. And I will hopefully talk to you again in the playoffs.
Yes, I hope so. Like I said, if I can get the fourth or fifth pick,
We'll
we'll be
see. We'll
good.
see.
We'll be
Like,
good.
look, if you had just known some a little more Disney trivia, no, just kidding. You didn't do bad. You did perfectly well. So
Okay.
it'll be
Appreciate it,
fun.
Corey, man.
But it was
Appreciate it.
fun. We'll talk soon.
I will talk to you.